Judah Hanasi would say, which is the straight path or the right path for people to choose for themselves? Whatever is harmonious for the one who does it and brings about harmony between the doer and other people. That word for harmony is tiferet, which is also beauty and located right here. Over the centuries, commentators have believed that this meant that a person should never, ever go to the extreme, that moderation is the way to go, to find that middle way. Seems to me the straight path is different for every individual. And indeed, I've never even heard of a straight path. For me, they're all kind of crooked or hilly. Today, I want to talk about the way we go through our paths. Bechol darchecha da'ehu. In all your derech, in all of your way or path or road or journey that we take, there is da'ehu. I know it sounds a little bit like dayenu. Da'ehu, we're translating as connect, but literally it means know him or know it or know this. Our clergy team didn't go with that translation because we believed that the word connect connotes the kind of relationship to something, the connection to it that speaks of this kind of knowledge, whether it's with others or inside of yourself. But it also is to connect spiritually. And that connection, that deya, to know, is very intimate. In biblical terms, this knowledge is the deepest of them all. You've heard the phrase, to know in the biblical sense. If not, ask your mother. That's the kind of knowing and connection that we're talking about. Intimate, personal, close, knowing. The phrase says that in everything we do, we come intimately close to something. It doesn't say that we have the potential to come close. It says, da'ehu. Raise up the level of your life's existence through what you think and what you do, and in all you do, you will know closely the force of your life. How? I'm suggesting that the Jewish spiritual practices that I'm laying out in my sermons this year can provide a kind of Jewish spiritual answer. The answer to how we navigate through discord and pain and suffering inside of our personal lives, combined with the increase of fear and uncertainty in all of our worlds, in the physical world, in the political world, the social, the business world, and the digital worlds. For me, these ways represent spiritual paths to living with everything we live with today, now. Last week, we began with the foundational attributes of chesed and emet, loving kindness and truth, to open our thoughts to accept at this very moment in our lives the truth of who we are. This practice helps us become aware of the feelings that are aroused by our thoughts, to notice them and understand that for now, it is what it is. Tonight, I want to talk about two other qualities or attributes or character traits that are a part of our lives every single day. If chesed and emet are internal thoughts that then become manifest outside in the physical world. Netzach and Hod belong to what we actually do in the world, our physical, emotional, relational experiences that we need to internalize and become aware of for this particular spiritual practice. These two Hebrew words, Netzach and Hod, are two character traits, they're qualities of our being that inform our actions in the world. In fact, they're two of the 10 emanations from God called Sfirot in Kabbalah, in the realm of Jewish mystical life. Each Sphira is assigned to one or more body parts, like the energy of God enters into the world embodied, literally inside of each one of us. These two qualities, Netzach and Hod, are our legs. Netzach is the right leg, Hod is the left leg. Our legs ground us. Our legs allow us to maneuver around the world. And these two qualities are two of the essential ways that we life journey through the world as well. In our legs, in order to have balance, we need both of them to be working. I actually found this out this past year because of my back. I literally lost the feeling in my left leg. I had to adjust. I had to figure out how to walk regularly with a different center of balance. It's the same thing with Netzach and Hod. They are two opposites, yet partnered qualities that have to work together in order to live a grounded, more balanced, dare I say, harmonious existence. It can be easy to believe that the intrinsic value of one of these characteristics is greater than the other and dismiss the lesser of the two as irrelevant or useless, but that would be a mistake. Rabbi Lisa Goldstein of IJS wrote about Netzach and Hod that, quote, both of these are understood to be divine qualities that can manifest in us, and both of them are worthy of cultivating as a part of our spiritual repertoire, unquote. So let us now cultivate what is already inside of us. Netzach literally means victory. Rabbi Arthur Green, the scholar of Jewish mysticism, asserts that Netzach is the quality that, quote, seeks to remake the world, to render everything perfect. It is a great force for goodness, that which inspires us to go forth and right the world's wrongs, to reform the social order, to fulfill the dreams of perfection. It is the impatient force within us that believes we can accomplish anything, that reality should be subject to our wise reshaping of it, our wise reshaping power. Rabbi Goldstein described Netzach a little differently. She said, it's the quality that urges us to get involved, to fix things, to form and to act and to create. It's about drive and success and doing. I love it. Bring it on. Netzach. You seem excited. Hod. This literally means splendor. Goldstein says that it is the, quote, quality of giving space, of letting it be, of feeling thankful for the way things are, not needing to change a thing. Green writes, Hod is the admission that we cannot do it all. It's the acknowledgement that we have to accept ourselves as we are and be grateful for the life that has been given to us. Hod is the other side of wisdom, the self that bows before the mystery of what is as it is, the self who submits to reality and rejoices in doing so. Hod. I think I'm going to sit quietly with that one for a little while. I like the way Green differentiates between our perception of reality in each of them. In Netzach, he believes that it is that reality should be subject to our wise reshaping power, whereas Hod, he as a character submits to reality and rejoices in doing so. Netzach reshapes with power. Hod submits and rejoices. Netzach is aggressive. Hod is laid back. Netzach is ambition. Hod is patience. But the divide between them, it's not so cut and dry, because we have both of these sides inside of us at all times. We are part warrior and part cultivator, depending on the situation and the subject and our interests. These two qualities are like in flux all the time, but each one of us has one side or the other that is actually more dominant. Sometimes you can see it in body language, as in when we're walking around, right? So Netzach is like, I call it my New York City walk. I've got to get going to where I'm going. Hod, I'm a little more laid back, a little more relaxed. Let's say you're in a crowd of people. Netzach, trying to get through the crowd. Hod, it's going with the crowd. Now, I am not advocating for one or the other, because to be spiritually healthy, we actually need them both. The characteristics are already in us, but in so many ways, we have allowed these centers of our energy to control whether we're one or the other. Most of the time, they are unconscious triggers that send us in one direction or the other direction. So that the spiritual practice of Netzach and Hod awareness focuses on recognizing when, where, and how you use these traits in your life and can serve to bring them and our lives into focus and balance. We just went through our confessional prayers. We're going to be doing it 2-3 more times in the next 24 hours. We consider the way we've missed the mark in the last year. So as we go through it, I want you to consider whether your Netzach or Hod were out of balance. Imagine the times when the Netzach part of you was too strong. Those would be the times you were arrogant or haughty, when all you cared about was your goal and what you wanted, and you didn't even consider anybody else. Or when you pushed too far with someone you care about and lost connection with them. It's when your ambition or your drive or your need to fix things for others or your quest for success blinded you from what your behavior was actually doing to you and to those people that were around you. Or it may have been that some of the ways you failed yourself was because you were too far on the spectrum of Hod, when you didn't speak up for yourself because you accepted what is, even when you knew that something was wrong. Or if you give up on a dream or a goal because you thought you weren't worthy of it, or you didn't have the vigor to continue with the fight. Or you gave up on yourself because you figured, it was for the best. The times you were too soft, too passive, too willing, too accepting with gratitude, pain and sorrow and suffering that you had to endure. As I was reading those things, did you land on one side of that Netzach and Hod spectrum more often than the other? Do you feel like you kind of take from the universe at all costs because you need it? Or have you given to the universe so much that you're basically losing yourself? To give and to take in this way, this is the balance I believe we're looking for on Yom Kippur. The first step, of course, is to recognize where these traits are actually evident in your life. But that's part of the work that you're going to do on your own as you reflect on what happened to you this past year. And we do teshuvah. We return. We return ourselves from the distance, from our mistakes, and we return to the center. And that action of return is to bring balance back into our lives. We confess our transgressions, we're forgiven. Balance. We recognize our faults, we resolve to improve. Balance. We pour out our broken hearts into the universe, and we try to mend them. Balance. There is a Jewish spiritual practice concerning balance between that forcefulness of Netzach and that humility of Hod. And it can be found in the teaching of one of my favorite Hasidic masters, Rabbi Simcha Bunim of Pshishka. I know it's a funny name. But in his teaching, Rabbi Bunim explains that everyone must have two pockets with a note in each pocket so that he or she can reach into one or the other depending on the need. So when you feel like you're too reticent or too cautious or too much in awe in a way where your reverence for something becomes fear and a feeling of helplessness, reach into your right pocket with the mystical hand of Chesed, that's Kabbalistic, and pull out a piece of paper that reads, "The world was created for my sake, to remind you that you have the power to do it all." Now, when you're feeling like you're bulldozing people, and you're feeling as if you're the center of the universe, and no one or nothing is going to get in your way, and you don't really care, because you're going to win at all costs, reach into your left pocket. That's the hand of Gvura, hand of power. Reach into the left hand pocket, pull out a piece of paper, and it reads, "I am dust and ashes." To remind you that you are from the same humble origins as any other person that has ever lived on the face of our earth. This practice can ground us in our Netzach and our Hod. It's intended to find a balance between your drive to succeed and your willingness to stay open and accept what is. To carry gratitude in your accomplishments and gain a valuable understanding in the dynamics of the desire to do and the desire to just be. To find a way to stand sturdy, both legs planted, ready to strive for our goals, but at the same time aware that we have limitations, that we are human. And just a little note, in the scheme of the body where the Sfirot are, Netzach and Hod, they kind of go up or they go down. When the lines move up, they actually meet Tiferet. So when Judah Hanasi asks, what is the straight path? And the Tiferet of the doer is at stake, Tiferet sits in between victory and splendor, between Netzach and Hod. Perhaps it isn't really the middle way at all that he's talking about, but the balance between these two traits of our humanity. I have 2 pieces of paper for you to take on your way out. Keep them in your pockets. If you don't have a pocket, keep them so you can get at them pretty quickly. I hope that you're able to gain strength when you need it. And I hope you can call upon gratitude and humility when you need that as well, so that you can bring balance, harmony, and wholeness into your life. Gmar Chatima Tova, and may it be God's will.